Hello, and welcome to the SAF Audiovisual Cast, where we, SAF, connect and share information from top university officials, faculty, and administration directly with SAF students and parents. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, William. I'm a 2005 IES Abroad Beijing alum, and after spending some time working in Shanghai, I'm now based in Chicago with SAF and IES as a marketing manager. Today we've got a special guest, Dr. Patrick Colabucci, Director of International Programs for UCLA. Hi, Patrick.
Hi, William. Thank you for the introduction. I'm excited to be here and have the opportunity to speak with you and hopefully connect with the students and parents.
Awesome. Patrick, I did some digging to find out a little bit about you, and more than what some of my colleagues have told me as well.
Okay.
My understanding, you've been with UCLA for a little while now, but you're originally based in or coming from the Northeast, is that right?
So, the answer is yes. I've been with UCLA for about 5 years. I was in the CSU system for about 7 years before that, but originally I'm from Washington, D.C. I was lucky. In college, I got interested in traveling, and I left when I was about 23. I left Washington, D.C. and returned to the States about 22 years later. It was a good journey.
Sounds like it. My understanding is that you speak some Japanese and Chinese. Is that correct?
It's true. I was a student in Taiwan. I lived in Taiwan for a while. Then I lived in Chengdu, but this was back in the days. This was a long time ago. I did some traveling in Chengdu and Sichuan and Xidang and some other places, and then I made my way to Tokyo to work, and I got my master's degree in Japan. Temple University out of Philadelphia has a campus in Tokyo, so that's where I did my master's degree. Yeah.
Very cool. Can you tell us a little bit about your role for UCLA?
Yeah, so UCLA Extension is probably the largest extension in the United States, and we've been around a little bit more than 100 years. So 2 years longer than the main campus, actually. And the idea of an extension, which is also called a continuing and professional studies, it has different words in different states. Its purpose, its mission, is to provide high quality education and access to campus for people who are not in UCLA degree programs. So we help Los Angeles folks who want to upgrade their skills or change careers. We also work with international students who want to take some UCLA classes. We have a variety of programs, certificates, which allow students to study for 9 or 12 months and then work in the US for a year. We run a study abroad program, which allows undergraduate students from around the world to come in and take UCLA programs. We have an English as a second language program. And one of the other things we do, which is really cool and really growing and exciting, is a custom programs unit where we work with government ministries, private businesses, or universities that want a customized program, often quite intense. It could be like a boot camp or something like that. We can do these in China. We can do them in LA. Got a lot of flexibility there. So my job at UCLA Extension is Director of International Programs. So I recruit students. We provide services, visa services, health insurance for most of our students, career services, everything like that.
Very cool. Very cool. And it sounds like you've got a lot of work to do. My understanding is that UCLA has a lot of international students.
So UCLA campus probably has somewhere between 11 and 13,000 students. A lot of these are going to be graduate students and things like that. UCLA Extension, we have well over 2,000 international students a year. So we've been at this for a while.
So on the topic of UCLA in general, for those who don't know, maybe parents or students that are thinking about attending, can you tell us a little bit more about the school and its connection to California or the state school system in general?
So it's a great, I think it's a great question, William. And to give context, there's 3 public higher education systems in California. One is the UC system, UCLA, UC Berkeley, UC Riverside. There's 10 of them, right? And their goal is research. So we do bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, a lot of doctorate degrees, but we have medical schools and engineering schools for research purposes, biology. We do a lot of research in it. So there's 10 of them. The second system is the CSU, the California State University system. I think the Chinese might call it the Jiajiu system. And what it happens there is their focus is on the bachelor's or the master's degree. The CSU system is fantastic at educating first generation people, meaning the generation who's first to go to college in the family. And it does a tremendous job about helping people raise their economic level. There are 23 CSU campuses, and they have almost 500,000 students.
Wow.
About twice as many students as the UC.
Okay.
And the third public system, William, is our community college system. The community college system in California, there's more than 100 of them. Everything from Santa Monica and Pasadena all the way up to San Francisco and everywhere else. They do a fantastic job of helping students do their first 2 years of university. And after that, these students often transfer into a 4-year degree program. One of the interesting facts is Santa Monica College has been the #1 sender of transfer students into UCLA for more than 10 years in a row. Now, it's not the only community college that does that. There's others, but the community college system in California does a tremendous job.
Very cool. So that sounds almost like amazing. It's in its scope and its breadth. But I also understand UCLA specifically to be pretty accomplished. Is it, if I'm not mistaken, the first or the top public university in the U.S.?
I mean, generally speaking, it's considered the #1 public university in the United States. And UCLA gets more undergraduate applications than any university in the United States. And, you know, if you go onto the website, you know, we have people who have won the Nobel Prize, and we have famous scientists and athletes and journalists and all. And it's really tremendous. And one of the cool things about UCLA that people sometimes might not understand is everybody knows we have athletic programs. We've got a basketball team. Our women's gymnastics team is incredibly fantastic, water polo. But what's interesting is right now, we're the only university which has a sports hall of fame on campus. And UCLA has won more national championships than any other university in the state. So when international students or students from outside California come to UCLA, the opportunity to go and see world-class gymnastics or world-class basketball or world-class baseball or something, it's there for the student. It's a tremendous experience.
Very cool. So regarding academics, more specifically for UCLA, can you tell us about some of the most popular majors?
You know, I read about that recently. I don't have detailed data, but I believe that biology is one of the more popular ones. So is we don't have UCLA does not have an undergraduate business degree. It starts at the graduate level, but we do have a lot of people study some business topics, psychology, theater, film and television, engineering. They're all very popular.
I imagine theater, entertainment, stuff connected to that might be popular in LA.
Yeah, you know, I've read it's one of the top 3 schools in the country for it. And interesting is that UCLA Extension, where we're really focused on the professional, our entertainment certificates and things like acting, directing, the business of entertainment, film scoring, cinematography. They're some of our most popular programs with international students who want to study in LA and then work for 1 year in the US.
Definitely. Clear. So wanted to delve a little bit more deeply regarding overseas students from China in particular. Can you tell us a little bit about UCLA's connections to China?
Wow. Yeah, a little bit. As you know, we run, there's a high school in Nanjing called Jinling, and It's a high school that's run by a UCLA faculty member. Um, so we do that. We've UCLA and UCLA Extension in particular has relationships with many Chinese universities. I think China, the last time I looked at the statistics, China was the #1 sender of international students. China was #1 in sending students to UCLA. They're at UCLA Extension in our certificate program. They're #1, but it's only about 23%. We have tremendous diversity in our programs.
Very interesting. And how about, this is a little bit different set of offerings, but how about online students?
Well, it's interesting. UCLA Extension has offered online courses and programs for more than 15 years. So we're not new to that space. Now, in early March, we had to offer much more online, but we already had hundreds of courses online. And what's interesting is I believe we had almost 80 countries represented on our online demographics. So we had students from more than 80 countries in our online courses to begin with. So we're successful in that space. We use a learning management system called Canvas, which is accessible in China, and we've had many Chinese students enroll in our online offerings.
Ah, very cool. Very cool. In that vein, how does an international student, particularly, let's say, a Chinese international student, integrate into the university community? And maybe we could look at both online and traditionally.
Well, campus does a lot, but I'll address that through extension. Um, we don't run programs exclusively for international students. I mean, that's fundamental to us. So we think the experience of studying with Americans and studying with other nationalities, we think that is an opportunity also for the American students to study with Chinese and Brazilians and Turks and Japanese and people from Kazakhstan. So all of our courses are fully integrated, and you're studying right next to people from Los Angeles or people from Sweden, and we think that just adds a richness to our programs. Now, I will say we do provide services for the international students. Some of it is regulatory services, like the visa part, right? But some of our other services, like we have a career services team. UCLA Extension had more than 500 students do OPT last year. OPT is optional practical training when the student's allowed to work after completing a program in the US. And our career services helps them. But that service is available to Americans and to international students. And we run networking events. People in the entertainment networking is a very big deal. When students are looking for a job, it's a very big deal. But we don't run them just for international students. This is for everyone. You're all in this together. You'll learn together, you'll grow together. So we make a pointed effort not to separate our international students.
Very cool. So we are SAF. We're representing SAF here in this discussion. I think you and UCLA have a decent amount of history with us. Could you share a little bit more about your relationship with us?
So I've been at UCLA a little bit over almost 6 years. And I'm fortunate that I get to go to China every year to recruit. And SAF and UCLA Extension and SAF and UCLA summer sessions has worked together for many years. So what's really cool for me with SAF is before I go to China, when I know my dates, I reach out to the SAF China team and I say, what do you want me to do? I'll give you a day in Shanghai. I'll give you a day in Guangzhou or Chengdu or Chongqing or Beijing. And it's nice that the SAF team will get me in front of students, get me in front of parents. Together, we can visit a university and talk about different opportunities. So my relationship with SAF and the UCLA Extension relationship with SAF has proven fruitful. And the nice thing is it always results in helping students. And that's the bottom line of what we do, is help students.
Certainly is. Certainly is. So this summer, we are offering 3 different types of UCLA courses. academic, intensive, and extension. Excuse me, because I know there's lots of different terminology for them, but we can get certificates, we can do short studies where we get credit, or traditional online summer programs where we
Right.
can also get credit. Can you tell us a little bit more beyond my description there?
Sure. Well, I think there's a couple things to look at. And let me get some terminology clear. If you look at our website, we use the word remote learning and online learning. And remote learning is when the courses are online, but synchronous. So all of the students and the teacher are there at the same time. And we have a lot of international students who are in the States or in LA, and they might be studying remotely. So they're not coming to campus, but they're in class with the students at the same time.
So it's
Then we
live.
have correct.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
And then we have the asynchronous option, which is we call online, which you can take from anywhere in the world at any time. It's usually self-paced with a little bit of project work and things like that. So that's some of the terminology. So we do run a study abroad program, which allows students to take UCLA undergraduate courses. This is for students who are already undergraduate students in China or around the world, and they're going to take those credits back to the university. Then we have a language program for people studying English, want to prepare for university or improve their English. We also run these certificate programs. Like I said, they run the gamut. So entertainment, business, data science, cybersecurity, project management, acting, directing, sustainability. We've got 40 or 50 of them open to international students. So, and they are, I should say also, they're credit bearing. At Extension, all of our classes have to be approved by the UCLA academic department. All the courses, all the syllabi, and all the instructors. So the quality is there and the credit is there.
Patrick, on that note, you just brought up something that's pretty interesting to me. The certificate program is also credit bearing.
Yep.
So how does that work if I want to start in the summer?
You go online and register for the classes, and we welcome you, William.
Right on.
The nice thing about doing the online part is you don't need an I-20, you don't need an F1 visa. You can register for the classes and start earning your credits. Now, the thing we have to be careful about with international students is for many of the international students, William, working on an OPT in the US is a big goal. It's part of it's a return on investment for them. Right now, US law requires the students to do at least an academic year, which is about 9 months. So if people started online, we welcome them and they'll learn a lot, but that won't count towards their 9 months in the States so they can do an OPT.
I see. Now, on the other hand, I guess there are some extenuating circumstances with COVID-19 at this moment. So if somebody were to start online, could they continue in person in LA?
We hope so. As soon as the state opens up, and I was checking online, the US consulates in China, they've announced dates to start doing interviews again. So the UC system, except for Berkeley and Merced, the UC system is a quarter system, winter, spring, summer, and fall. And our fall quarter doesn't start until about September 28th. So we still have time. We're issuing I-20s, hoping the consulates open in time for students to get their visa to come to the state. So a student could start the program online and then come and complete it in LA. And we hope that'll be as early as fall, but we just cannot say that yet.
Patrick, can you tell us a little bit about what distinguishes UCLA summer session courses to other universities in the US?
Yes. At the core, UCLA summer session is UCLA just during the summer. All the credit courses, everything that goes on runs through summer sessions. The fall, winter, spring, the academic year is sort of run by, there's attachments to the state and everything like that. But summer sessions, They offer everything. They run all of the academic programs for UCLA during the summer.
Very cool. Very cool. So what tips would you offer students looking at online courses?
Well, it's an exciting question right about now. Um, I think the digital natives, I'll say the people under 30 who were raised with a phone in their hand, who, are listening to song lyrics and reading song lyrics on their phone, people who have been using WhatsApp or WeChat or Facebook or all the different tools. I think they're very comfortable in the online environment. Um, Many years ago, there's a famous quote, William. It's when they were talking about online education, famous quote by a British educator who said, when you get to online, the professor is no longer the sage on stage. They are the guide on the side. And I think that is so true. And so what happens online is that individuals have their own journey. Every course will have their same, learning objectives. You have to learn a certain amount. And you have to demonstrate you know a certain amount. But the truth is, people get there different ways. I know I was an online learner. Part of my doctorate degree was taught online, and I'm very much one of those people who like to read things. But I had classmates who wanted to watch everything on video. I had others who wanted to listen. I had others very comfortable reading on their phone. I never became comfortable reading on the phone. But we all got to the end. We all got to the degree. We all did our research. So what I'd say is the individual experience of an online learner, everyone will learn it a little bit different, take a different approach to different learning styles. But you have to be committed to things like time management, and that doesn't change. I hate to say this, but young people are not great at time management historically. They wait to the last minute to do a paper, and if you're online, you still have to prepare. You don't get more time.
Definitely. I was thinking about looking at one program as an example.
Okay.
It, I've seen some pretty interesting extension programs
Yeah.
for certificates. I had one that I saw, but I don't know if there's one that you'd like to share with us.
Which one did you see, William?
Well, as a marketer, the UCLA marketing certificate looked pretty interesting to me.
The digital marketing one?
I think so, yeah.
Well, so I'll talk about a couple of them. It's really interesting because our digital marketing certificate is really quite popular. But what's interesting is that curriculum changes every few months. I mean, at the end of the day, a year and a half ago, Instagram was not what it is now. 3 years ago, Facebook was something different. So part of our job is to keep this very dynamic. So digital marketing is a great example. A couple of the others that I'll bring to your attention, data science. Data science is fundamental to it, whether it's digital marketing or whatever you're doing in the world. The data matters. You want data. We have this COVID situation. You want the data to tell us what to do. You don't want somebody's feelings to tell you what to do, right? So the data science certificate can be done fully online or face to face. We have another one I think is really cool on cybersecurity. And that crosses all borders. Cybersecurity is everywhere, just like data science, you have to know it. There's a few things that are unique to certificates in LA: acting, directing, the business of entertainment. LA is good at it, we're really good at it. So you get some real practical instruction and maybe a job out the deal. And one of the others that I find really cool right now is sustainability. I know some people call it environmental science or climate science, but our sustainability certificate it's a rich certificate. The last I checked, there was a class of 20 people. There were 9 international students and 11 locals. And the 9 international students came from 8 different countries. So you can have a class discussion about What are you doing in China about this? What are you doing in Indonesia? What are you doing in Brazil? What did you do in Holland? I mean, what a rich, rich experience, you know?
Definitely, definitely. Well, so speaking of rich experience, there are some things that at as I understand UCLA offers that I wanted to clarify with you. Handshake, the Alumni Association, UCLA Career Tools. You mentioned some of these before. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Well, so this is the services we provide. And like I said, um, these are not limited to international students. We serve all of our students. So career services is relatively small office, but they have platforms and websites and tools for students to write a resume, write a cover letter, get a little bit of advising going on. And Handshake is it's a platform that all UCLA students have access to, like our students, which helps them find a job. And Handshake has jobs all around the country. And you go on and you have your UCLA ID number and you're very active in it. But one of the services that you didn't mention, William, is we have a writing center. Um, and the writing center is almost a misnomer because it'll help you write your paper, but it'll also help you write your resume and it'll help you practice interviews. It'll read through a job description with you so you know what that job is about. And if you're looking for a job and you're going to go for an interview, you really have a good idea of what's going on. So it has as much to do with writing as it does mentoring or tutoring or preparing students.
Very interesting. Uh, Patrick, I think our time's just about up. I wanted to check if there's anything else you'd like to share.
You know, what I'd like to say is California is an amazingly welcoming, diverse state. Los Angeles is really cool. About half the people in Los Angeles don't speak English at home. And it's not because they don't speak English, they speak it, but it means a family member may not be a native speaker. So when you come to Los Angeles, you will meet people from around the world. You can have Chinese food for breakfast, Brazilian food for lunch, and French food for dinner. You can walk on our campus, which has art galleries, museums, a sculpture garden, a sports hall of fame. We have a recreation center where you can do your training. So what I'd say is California and Los Angeles are incredibly welcoming to a diverse international student. The other thing is when you think about it, your study abroad experience, it's not just about the academics. The study abroad experience should be a transformational life experience. You will meet people you will not have met near your home. You will see things and touch things and taste things and hear things that you be exposed to things that you wouldn't have had in your home. And when you do your study abroad experience, you have to be open to engaging a new audience, to learning new things, to taking a couple of adventures, a couple of risks, and seeing what happens.
So super interesting. I also think there's a contemporary issue that's on everyone's mind at the moment. COVID-19 outbreak, pandemic across the world has a lot of people rightfully anxious, worried. Chinese students and parents are faced with different concerns as well. Do you have anything to share with them?
Well, the first thing I'd say is on the UCLA and the UCLA Extension website, all the news and all the policies and everything surrounding the COVID situation is on our website for public knowledge. It's really as transparent as possible. And as someone living in California, I will say that the state of California, the city of Los Angeles, the city of San Francisco, California's handled this very, very well. We're a state of about 35 million people, so not huge, compared to some of the provinces in China, but it's the largest, it's the most populated U.S. state. We're about 600 miles north to south and about 300 miles east to west. So we're not a small place. We're a pretty large place. Um, and our governors and our mayors and our cities and the people have been listening to medical and healthcare professionals. We're not, I mean, I know what you read, you can read in the newspaper something coming out of our country, but if you look at California, you look at the governors, and you look at the mayors, and you look at the people's behavior, you'll see we're taking advice from medical and public health experts. We're not rushing to make a decision. We're looking at data, caring about the safety of people. And to be honest, I think California is handling it really well considering how big and complex the state is.
Definitely. Patrick, on one more lighter note before we finish, what is your favorite Chinese dish?
Gosh, man, I'm gonna probably have to either go with a ma pao or a gong bao. I mean, I'm a big fan of the spicy food. I spent time in Chengdu when you were a child. The food in Sichuan has always been a special place in my heart. So I'm gonna have to go with the gong bao or a ma pao.
Fair enough. Good choice. Well, with that, thanks for stopping by virtually. And
Great. Well, William, I appreciate the time, and I wish all the students and parents at SAF all the best, and you get some really good advice from SAF. And if there's anything I can do, let me know.
thanks much.